This episode of the Lost Beat 6 podcast is brought to you by New Amsterdam, winner of Wine Enthusiast 2015 Wine Star Award for Spirit of the Year. New Amsterdam, it's your town.
I rather condone or abide by this fucking recording session happening in my kitchen.
Psychedelic Space Beef Band. God damn it.
She's hungry for Mongolia barbecue and dick.
Basically, what's going to happen is every week we're going to offer to suck Mark in.
Steven, do you realize how bad of an idea this was? This is an idiotic show.
This is another episode. Yeah, exactly. How Backstreet Boys. It's like, what are you doing? Do you know what you're doing?
Shit, we got a beaver over here.
Like, as a friend, as a friend, come on, guys.
An incredibly poor decision and literally betrays everything that the beef sesh is about.
Welcome to another episode of the Lost Beat 6 podcast.
This time we're on the road.
That's right.
You guys
we're in
are-
the fucking desert.
You
What
guys
episode are
have
we on,
got
Steve?
the,
Is this 13? 13 and a half?
This is 14.
14.
last
Episode
episode
14.
was 13 and a half.
Yes.
I've been reading up. Why don't we all introduce ourselves? Let's go around because we got some newcomers,
That's right.
myself included. Let's
Yeah.
Several
let's start
newcomers.
with Punished Steve.
Not the newcomer, but the man behind the magic.
Yeah.
We should actually introduce the actual newcomer.
Okay.
Introduce yourself, goddammit.
Oh, okay. I'm Sean. You may
Welcome,
know
Sean.
me.
Hi, Sean.
You may know me from
Hi, Scene.
you won't know me from the YouTube channel 2020 Gaming. I co-host a Let's Play channel with my friend Ben Spiegel.
They'll know soon.
And we'll get some links or something up there.
Oh, yeah.
But you may know me from nowhere and nothing, but
That
but
will
I'm here.
soon
and,
change.
I'm also the man behind the mask. I think pretty much the entire. I was thinking about it the other day. I think I'm the entire unifying element behind like the Burbank and Northridge prog rock scenes.
I believe it.
Really?
It's strange but true.
I think. Well, I mean, I knew Kentucky and like the Kentucky Clawson group, and then I introduced that to Ryan Pressman, and because me and Ryan both went to the same college together, so I think in some measure,
You were the one that introduced me to Ryan.
yeah, and I introduced this whole squad to Ryan, so. So everything. So blame it on me.
I'll blame it on the liquor. All right, next up, we have another guest tonight.
He is half conscious tonight.
The absolute madman.
Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
This is Troy, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know your last
This is
name.
this is my roommate and heterosexual life partner, Troy Brogmus.
I'm not a heterosexual, you fucking queer. Don't
Good.
insult
Neither are
me.
You're in good company.
I didn't mean to misgender you. This is my
I
omnisexual
relish
life
it.
person.
Who says I'm a person, man? Just
Omnisexual otherkin.
Oh, it gets me so hard. Degrade me more. Invent a new subculture for me to be designated as. Thank you. I'm
I
sorry.
think we sexually identify as beefers for this show.
Yes.
So we're
Correct.
familiar with the alternative.
I'm a skeleton
identities.
stuck in a man's body.
That is
It's been done, man.
potentially too spooky.
I'm a skeleton. It's
Ooh.
October is coming up, so
We
I
need
just
to have a
wanted
bell we can ring when someone makes a Dahoy comment like I'm a skeleton, so I can ring
Just say
that.
fucking Dahoy.
I can, but I'd rather have a bell I can ring just to annoy them.
So me and Troy happen to be living in a cave in the desert right now. So
Yes,
maybe
we enter
maybe
your cave.
We have enough
maybe
fans
punish
to make it
Steve
work.
and-
We're trying out for like ISIS auditions.
Yeah.
We're trying to
So
see
we're-
how,
Oh,
yeah.
We're trying
I know a
ourselves.
thing or two about that. We'll get to that later.
So maybe punished Steve and Eric here could tell us why they came out to this cave in the middle of the desert to visit us.
We're Punish Steve and the drunk retarded Eric, or the DRE.
DRE.
Is that what DRE stands for?
Yeah.
I keep seeing it in all the descriptions. But,
Yeah, it stands for drunk retarded Eric.
so in preparation.
I didn't give
for-
that nickname to myself,
In
although I
preparation-
probably should have.
No, that was an actual Punish Steve original.
Punish Steve, you sound a lot like DJ High Tech from. It's weird. Am I the only one?
Yeah.
Can we bring
Play
up
that motherfucking
can we
shit,
bring
dog.
up can we bring up DJ High Tech is the best like under all of this? Like it's gonna be weird.
We can in
Just-
post, I think.
You're not going to be able to tell when Punish
fatty
Steve is
boom
talking or when DJ High Tech is talking.
Like, there's
Yeah.
some psychedelic, awesome, crazy shit happens.
There's
though.
no
I don't-
Whitley.
I
There's no
don't
Whitley
think
Strieber shit.
There's no
I mean,
like getting molested
hey.
by like pale aliens, you know.
If I was an alien and I went to like a plebe ass planet like Earth, I would make like dank music. I wouldn't try to take it
yeah,
over because like
that's
what's
true.
there to take over?
If there's
It's like a bunch
if
of
there's
retard monkey people that like are barely evolved. Like I would much rather just have a good time and
there
make
were-
music.
so, I brought you guys here under false pretexts.
Wait, what?
So,
I thought we were imposing on you.
oh no,
Was
not
this
at all.
was this a master plan?
Well,
So
Did
you'll
you
know that
schedule
as the
this?
night goes on, you'll find out we were imposing on you. But
So the,
right now,
um,
you seem to have the upper hand.
So as the mastermind behind like the inter San Fernando Valley progressive rock scene, I thought it would only be appropriate to like offer you guys a gift because you guys are Punish Steve is one of my best
Punish
friends.
Steve.
And Eric, you're a cool dude.
Thank
I've
you.
met you several times. So.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt this, but
But anyway, we're here on the road. Are passing through, and we're on our way to Sabaton Con in lovely Arizona.
hell yeah, it's gonna be miserable.
Bro.
So that'll keep you updated over time, and we'll have more reports from.
Sweatiest weekend possible.
They always do.
You're acting like they already are, like all of them already aren't.
But this con is so filtered down.
This con is like your 1990s AOL like chat room about anime, like level of autism.
Troy, you grew up in Burbank with me. Did you ever go to like the Burbank Public Library anime conventions in Burbank, California with me?
That's the thing.
Okay, first of all, I want to say I didn't even know that fucking existed, so I was probably spared some experiences because I was in the anime club for 2 years in high school.
Oh shit!
I bet they
and
didn't
then-
talk about text no
We didn't have
lie.
an anime club.
You
Can't
know,
lie.
that was before I like versed myself in like animes that were like discontinued or banned for being super fucked up, but I wish I knew about them just to scare the shit out of those other weeb kids. So that was like a long time ago. I was like, the only anime I'd seen was Miyazaki stuff. So I was like, I wasn't even really like weeb material yet. I was
You
just
were a
someone who-
Disney boy.
I just liked art. I didn't even like Disney. I was just like, I liked
Wow.
art and then Ghibli, and that was the extent of it. So yes.
To be honest, the Disney Ghibli dubs are like better than 99% of like any other anime dubs.
Yes, absolutely.
They like, hire people that know what they're doing.
It's because they got that guy from Pixar who's a big anime boner. And
yeah,
he,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
supersedes all that stuff happening. He's like
Yeah.
the man behind the plan.
What's going on here?
John Weeaboo, that's the guy from Disney. You fucking. Is this is this
It's a bit
pentagram?
Whoa, what's that with
This
the knife?
is my gift to you guys.
What?
So okay,
What are you doing with that knife?
everyone,
Wait a minute.
everyone, calm down. So so this is my surprise for you guys. I want nothing but the best
shit.
I want nothing but the best for this podcast. So if you
Is this bed really for sleeping?
no, yeah, it's for sleeping.
This
Hear
is
me
not
out.
some sort of sacrificial
This
like
is not a
table.
sacrificial podcast.
I
For you
wish
viewers
we
at home,
had
Man,
the
don't
video
knock
element.
It. Don't knock it till you rock it. Like being sacrificed ain't that bad. So,
Here you go,
come
guys.
on.
So
think
I think this is the opportune time.
Is this
to
like
present-
Bible Black?
This is the opportune time to present my gift to you guys. Right? So you've come out to my desert cave. Me and Troy eat people here.
All right.
I just
So
see
I've
that,
decided
so-
to out crazy Jim Nelson. And I want to say I love Punish Steve and I love Eric. But you know who loves you guys more than I do? Satan.
I don't doubt that for a minute or a second.
So for you at home,
Mr. Baphomet.
you listeners at home, I want you to. So I have a TV screen behind me. I've just pulled up an enormous JPEG of Anton LaVey's like inverted pentagram Baphomet Leviathan sigil behind me. So
There's also a very large knife.
you large knife. I'm gonna tell you something. Okay, so hear me out, guys. I'm doing this because I love you, right? You guys are podcasters. We're all entertainers here.
That's
We're all
right.
musicians, right? There's nothing that an entertainer and a podcaster needs more in his life than the devil. So
I'd agree with that.
I
I may have agreed with that from the start.
So because I'm like basically a homeless person with a house, and I live in the desert in the middle of nowhere, and I spend a lot of time on the internet, I've been reading a lot about Satan lately.
And like where to
particularly-
hide bodies of people that come to your house.
Yeah, I mean, we got like a pretty big backyard, so we can like bury them like
Yeah.
a lot. But
I mean, under all that dog shit that we haven't picked up in
Yeah.
months, like it's hard to find anything.
yeah, all under all like the dog shit and all of that shit. So I wanted to like.
Can we
give
get
you-
back to the hentai? I liked the hentai. That was good.
Here's where we go.
I want to hear Sean out.
Here we go. I want to start with this. I've written you guys like a satanic blessing ritual, which I think is going to
shit.
benefit you guys in the long run. Because hear me out.
And the short run, if it's what I
In
think
the
it is.
short run. So what is Satan but like an enormous like syncretic amalgamation of everything that like, you know, mainstream religion doesn't like you know, such as like, you know, personal success or things like greed or like you know every human
touching your pee-pee.
touching your pee-pee. Every human
Stroking
being
your dangler
wants
to
try-
hentai.
every human being wants to touch their
New
own
Amsterdam is your town.
Every human being wants to touch their own pee-pee and have lots of money and have lots
And
of
drink
ladies.
10 to 15 shots of New Amsterdam vodka.
Yeah.
It's your town.
So anyway, so my gift to you guys is like I want to bestow upon you guys the blessings of Satan. So
Thank you.
I've got a little bit of a ritual here written up. No one's going to die tonight, but I want you guys to. But I think that you know, as the mastermind behind all of the San Fernando prog scene, I think it would only be. I think it would only be fitting that we do like a
San
little bit
Fernando Valley.
I think that we should pay a little bit of tribute to the man who made this all possible, the devil himself.
Thank you.
Lucifer.
I would like to, you know, pay a tribute as well.
You guys may notice that I am dressed a little bit. I'm dressed like appropriately for this tonight.
You know, I noticed, but I wasn't sure if that was like.
I have like a Greco-Semitic syncretic Satan like on my shirt, and I'm wearing a sports jacket and jeans, which is about as dressed up as I can possibly get.
Now, dying of dehydration.
Yeah, I'm dying of dehydration, but you know what? Our physical bodies are only illusions. And after this, I'm sure that we'll have like, after we die, I'm sure we'll have many like psychedelic manifestations and of finding our own bliss and that sort of thing. So, if you guys will permit me, I think this is the perfect crowd to do a little bit of. I'm gonna have.
Give me your
satanic
dank ass
ritual
Satan.
for you.
How big is this Satan's dick? Let's see the dick.
I think you guys are going to be disappointed, but I'm dressed up tonight because
Well-
I'm going to be the satanic high priest.
Look,
and I'm
man, if
gonna
you want to
guide
see a picture of Satan's cock, you got to go to my rituals, okay? Like, Sean doesn't swing that way. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, I'm not like
Well, it
homosexual
sounds like
by nature.
we have the wrong satanic host over here.
Yeah, I wanna
No,
hear
he's
his.
the right satanic. Like, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, Sean. I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Troy is probably the most satanic humanist person I know. So these are rituals.
Well-
so for anyone interested,
I'm just humanist.
This is a ritual based on like Anton LaVey's Satanism, and Anton LaVey is basically like the Snidely Whiplash of Satanism. So if you can imagine like a 1930s cartoon character who loves the devil and like hates like American pop culture, that's kind of like Anton LaVey. But anyway, so Anton LaVey's stuff is like largely, they're non-theists, first of all. So we're going to be invoking Satan a lot, but I want to tell you that the Anton LaVeyan Satanists are not theists. They're specifically talking about how like the devil is basically like man's carnal instincts like incarnate. You know what I mean? It's like their whole position is that like fucking and making money and like having a good time is good. And like life is good. And you should have fun in life because
You gotta rape that lolly pussy.
Well,
yeah,
it's.
you know what? I'm sure that Anton LaVey would love anime. Troy, what's your opinion?
Okay, well, I would say I don't know about Anton LaVey's status on that loli pussy rape, but I think Gigi Allen would agree with you, who's probably the best incarnation of the devil I can think of.
Honestly, Gigi Allen looks exactly like Anton LaVey.
They're like doppelgangers, but I think, as I say, it's like they don't believe you can catch ghosts. You can certainly catch Satan's cummies. They're in you at all times. I'm sorry. I used that word that I said I never use because Matt always uses that to make me feel uncomfortable. So I had to pull that out. But
we have a lot of friends who like make us feel uncomfortable about cummies and daddy's cummies and all different iterations of cummies. So let's turn our attention back to Satan's cummies. So there's a couple of things I'm going to ask from all three of you guys. Okay.
Please do.
So there's a couple of incantations I'm going to do, at the end of which I'm going to say, Shem Ham Foresh, Hail Satan. And after I say Hail Satan, all three of you guys got to say Hail Satan with me. Is that cool?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, so I'm going to say, we'll practice it. I'm going to say Hail Satan, and you guys say Hail Satan.
All I want to know is what you do with the knife.
The knife is like a sacramental tool, which I'm going to use to point at different. Okay, so imagine like knights, right? Like
Steve, don't worry about the knife.
When you get knighted, you get anointed.
Me and
by,
Sean
like, a
talked
sword.
about the knife earlier. It's fine.
Yeah. So, okay, the knife is like a symbol of like man's like ingenuity because it's made out of steel.
Yeah.
Generally in like tarot and like other occult things, it represents like the element of air, which is basically like intellect and like the things that make the knife. So it's not a knife. It's the it's like the symbol of the knife is like this is like the man's mind. The knife is the man's mind. That's what sets us apart from animals and other things. Is like we have a mind and we have a willpower. So that's what this is. So think about it like that. Okay, so we're gonna practice this. So I'm gonna say Hail Satan, and then every time I say Hail Satan, you guys say Hail Satan. Ready?
That sounds good.
Hail Satan.
Hail lolly pussy.
You know what? Lolly pussy. Anton LaVey would have approved of that. Okay.
Thank you.
I think
Let's continue.
There's some irony with my internet browsing history right before you guys got over here that I think would be relevant, but I'm not going to go into it any further.
So I'm drunk as shit. So we're going to start with the invocation to Satan, all right? So you may notice I'm a little bit dressed up tonight. I'm wearing a sports jacket and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's because I'm going to be the high priest tonight. So
excellent.
Here we go. I'm going to read a little bit, and I'm going to do a little bit of an incantation. So.
I've always wanted to be part of a Satanist gathering.
Yeah, so here we go. Here's your chance. Okay, here we go. Invocation to Satan. In nomine Dei nostri Satanis Luciferi excelsis. In the name of Satan, the ruler of the earth, the king of the world, I command the forces of darkness to bestow their infernal power upon me. Open wide the gates of hell and come forth from the abyss to greet me as your brother and friend. Grant me the indulgences of which I speak. I have taken thy name as a part of myself. I live as the beast of the field, rejoicing in the fleshly life. I favor the just and curse the rotten. By all the gods of the pit, I command these things of which I shall speak come to pass. Come forth and answer to your names by manifesting any desires. Amon, Baal-Zebub, Samael, Jim Nelson.
Hail Negus.
Hail Negus.
So in my instructions, it says drink from the chalice, which is essentially like a reference to like the Dionysus ritual, the Dionysus rituals of like ancient Greece, where you get super fucked up and you have sex with each other.
Yeah.
The god of wine.
We're already super lit, so I think we can skip that.
We can
part.
get more lit. I'm gonna get more lit.
Mary Litmus.
Okay, so this is what the knife is for. I'm going to concentrate into each area of each sort of like compass direction here. So I'm facing west. So this is left. So to my left. So
it's a lot of work.
Behind me is east. So okay. Satan.
This green area is grass.
Satan from the south. Lucifer from the east, Belial from the north, and Leviathan from the west. All right, you guys. So I'm going to read an invocation now. This is all for your benefit, by the way.
Is there an invocation of doom?
This is what this is. So I'm going to read right now an invocation for like blessing. Like this is a this is a blessing that I think that all performers and artists should undergo, because this is about this is a blessing of like your own like intense personal desires, and like a blessing of like, yeah, it's like you want to be an artist and you want to get money. This is a blessing for that.
I'm down for
I'll
that.
read you guys an incantation for that.
Let's hear it.
With the anger of anguish and wrath of the stifled, I pour forth my voices wrapped in rolling thunder, that you may hear. O great lurkers in the darkness, guardians of the way, minions of the might of Thoth, move and appear. Present yourselves to us in your benign power in behalf of one who believes and is stricken with torment. That's you guys. That's Lost Beat 6. Yeah. Isolate the Lost Beat 6 podcast in the bulwark of your protection, for they are undeserving of anguish and desires it not. Let that which bears against this podcast be rendered powerless and devoid of substance. Allow their vital salts to flow unhampered, that they may savor the carnal nectars of their future services. I'm gonna have to scroll down a little bit. All right, here we go. I'm gonna finish this up. Strike dumb their adversary, formed or formless. So all those formless podcasts out there, fuck them.
Fuck them. Right in the boy pussy.
So strike dumb their adversary, formed or formless. They may emerge joyful and strong from that which afflicts them. Allow no misfortune to allay their path, for they are of us, and therefore to be cherished. So basically that means if you're successful, you guys are like, I consider you guys friends of the devil.
Thank you.
Build around and within them the exultant radiance that will herald their emergence from the stagnant morass which engulfs them. This I command in the name of Satan, whose merciless flourish and whose sustenance will prevail. As Satan reigns, so shall their own, whose name is as the sound. Lost Beat 6 is the vessel whose flesh is as the earth. Life everlasting, world without end. Shem Hum Farash. Hail Satan!
Hail lolly pussy.
All right, you guys. So now at this point in the ritual, if there's any of the three of you who would like to make a request about maybe the success of the podcast or success in your personal life, please come to me, and we will invoke the devil and make this.
I'd like to request to be sponsored by Arby's and New Amsterdam.
Okay, Eric, come here. Come a little closer. We're going to anoint you. This is like, I'm going to anoint you like you're a knight. Come kneel before me. Okay, kneel before me. The great Eric requests of the forces of darkness to be sponsored by the mighty conglomerate armies. His wish is herefore cast into the winds of darkness, that the Lord of the Dark may hear them and bring it to fruition. All right, Eric, your wish has been sent to the your wish has been sent to like the immortal underworld.
A friend made in hell is a friend made well.
Okay, Troy, if there's anything that you want to wish, come up here right now. So
okay.
Troy, tell your wish into the microphone. Bring that microphone with you. Tell me what you want to do.
since my life has largely been a joke, foreseen with blind, extreme good fortune in the last couple of months of the worst year of the 2010s, I'm pretty sure whatever evil powers that be already really like me. So right now, I just really want to fucking pee. Get your shit over with, please. I'm already. I worship Satan on the daily. Just do this, please.
Okay, here we go. Troy Brockmas, the powers of darkness grant you the permission to empty your bowels.
Oh, thank God. Holy shit.
Okay, we're already 1 for 2 here. Punished Steve, DJ High Tech, is there anything that you'd like to request of our Dark Lord? You should talk. Okay, honestly, you should wish for the success of the podcast.
Is it one thing or is it like a list of things?
Give me a couple, but you got to come here.
666 things.
You can list a couple of them, but you got to come here and kneel.
All right.
Okay, come here.
All right, here we go. Here we're going to do this. Okay.
Punished Steve is assuming the position.
The boy pussy is ready.
Okay. Stephen, what do you command of the Dark Lord?
Funding capital.
Funding
I
capital.
got a couple things. So funding capital is number 1.
Okay. Give me a couple more. I know you have a lot.
The well-being of this show. We got that too.
So we got money, we got capital, we've got the well-being of the show. What else you got, Stephen?
This beaver needs to get laid really fast.
Get laid. Boy, the devil is your best friend.
As I was peeing, actually, I was like, oh shit, I forgot a couple of things I could ask for. So, dude, go for it. You know, you got lots of wishes.
If you had to choose between one, definitely the capital. We need some money.
Okay.
I need this studio.
So we've got money for the podcast, we've got the success of the podcast, and we've got getting laid. Steven, we got Punished Steven finally getting the V. I'm going to say the only caveat to this is that once you get the V, you come back on the podcast and talk about how the devil made you do it.
We'll get Jim on there too.
Okay. All right, Stephen. Bow down, and,
right,
and the high priest of the devil will bless you with his almighty phallic symbol. Lords of darkness, please bless this true believer and friend of the devil.
Is a friend of mine.
With money. The Grateful Dead were onto this. Stephen, I want you to listen to Friend of the Devil at least 10 times the next week to get yourself in the next mindset.
I'll see you 10
Every
times the next
time
week.
you go out to a bar to talk to ladies, I want you to listen to Friend of the Devil by the Grateful Dead and think about what it says and think about what the devil means for you, Stephen. I want you to think particularly that the devil is all of the natural elements of mankind turned on its head for the appropriate, it's your carnal desires instead of the mind. Like, you have been blessed with the ultimate carnal desire rather than intellect. So let that follow you wherever you go.
I'm still okay with the intellect. I don't want to scale up the intellect. That's a pretty good thing.
Your intellect is good, but we'll get more.
Can we
to
get
the
Mark in this?
mysticism
Can I
of this later.
I don't know. Can we is there a way to proportion this?
We'll proportion. I'll tell you what.
Prioritize maybe.
Bow back
hurry
down,
up! I
Steven.
forgot
I
to
don't need
ask
to
for
get
like
laid
dick
that
and
much.
pussy. Just fucking
All
finish
right,
it.
bow back down, Stephen.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay.
finish this up. All right, Punished Steve, the Dark Lord and the winds of hell bestow upon you monetary fortune, ultimate success of your podcast, and at last,
This is starting to make me sound like a real dick.
No,
It's success, bro. Go with it.
all of us want success.
All right. I mean,
every
like, the
man-
funding's not for my own welfare. It's to help everybody else. It's
Exactly.
like a thing
Satan
where...
doesn't give a shit. Just fucking
Yeah,
be
but I
selfish.
do.
It's
I
okay.
do. Cool.
The devil
Good for
wants.
you. Good for you.
I will, as the
Yeah,
high.
make sure that's in the contract.
As the high satanic priest here, I will say that the devil wants everyone to have a lot of money and a lot of sex. So this is going to be beneficial for
goddamn
everyone involved,
lolly pussy.
Stephen.
But we want to make sure that the money is distributed to the people who we support in the podcast.
Right on. We will bow back down.
I need that in the clause. Should I get my lawyer on this?
Steve, get down. Come on.
We'll get it. Here we go.
Okay.
The devil is the best lawyer that you will ever have.
Get down, Steve. Come on. Get
Punish
down.
Stephen. The devil will bestow upon you equal amounts among everyone who puts in equal effort into this podcast, vast economic fortune, and as a side bonus, you will get super laid.
It sounds like people need to get on this podcast.
All right, my friend.
That works for me. That works.
So there's only
Right.
so we've given everyone a blessing. Everyone's given me their everyone's given me what it is that they want to do. So after all of our blessings, I want to give a Shim Ham Foresh. Hail Satan.
Hail Negus.
Hail Satan. Yeah.
All right.
Hail
so
the
we've
niggas.
been given a lot. Okay, so I'm going to read the last Enochian key here. And
Please do.
this is going to be the end of the
The
ritual.
fuck does John D have to do with it? Did Anton LaVey just like stitch that shit in last minute because he was bored?
Troy, Anton LaVey is like a horrible occultist, but for the
Okay,
sake of
yeah,
this ritual,
all right.
we're going to tie it up with a nice, like an English Satanist translation of like the third Enochian key. So for those of you who don't know, this Enochian key is about how Satan appointed different ministers to high-powered positions among the among like the rich and powerful in the earth to carry out his bidding. So this is going to be particularly relevant to this like podcast taking over.
Perfect.
This is the third
Go for it.
Enochian key. Behold, saith Satan, I am a circle whose hands stand in the 12 kingdoms. 6 are the seats of living breath. The rest are as sharp as sickles, or the horns of death. Therein the creatures of earth are and are not, except in mine own hands which sleep and shall rise. In the first I made ye stewards and placed ye in the 12 seats of government, giving unto every one of you power successively over the 9 true ages of time. So I don't know, what do you think? This is like the 4th or 5th true age of time. This is a good... How many true ages of time do you think there are? What true age of time do you think this is?
0.
Troy, what do you think?
I've read all the Enochian keys, and I think he's omitting and changing a lot of. Dude, no one fucking knows what any of them refer to.
I'm gonna say
no one knows what any of that shit means. 9 ages time, 12
420.
things. There's
I'm
like
gonna
the
say-
12 dildos of like Enochian time wasting, which I've been fucked by many
I'm
times.
gonna say this is probably like the 4th or 5th true age of time.
Okay, cool.
So, I have given unto every one of you power successively over the 9 true ages of time, so that from the highest vessels in the corners of your governments, you might work my power, pouring down the fires of life and increase continually on the earth. Thus you will become the skirts of justice and truth. In Satan's name rise up, show yourselves, behold, his mercies flourish, and his name is become mighty among us. In whom we say, move, ascend, apply yourselves unto us as the partakers of his secret wisdom in your creation. So is it done. Shem Ham Foresh. Hail Satan.
Hail anime.
Say hell yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. So now you have the blessing of the devil, and I think you guys are going to do great as long as you keep up the LaVeyan Satanist, practices of.
I'm an anime Satanist, like sect, but I can get down with the more mainstream
We'll
stuff.
get to that. I have my own constructed mythology about the Yuri jury and the Lolikthon, but we'll explain it to you in a sec.
Excellent.
We'll explain it to you.
But definitely
After the break.
Yeah. Keep up your pursuance of personal fulfillment and not taking shit from anybody. And I think these and remember the lessons that you've learned from tonight, which is that the devil wants you to do good and spread his message to many a frightened child and a virgin.
If there's anything I learned tonight is that Satan blessed me to be sponsored by Arby's in New Amsterdam.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna fight for that.
So Arby's and New Amsterdam. Let's. It's on you. The devil said do it. So it's on you guys.
More Arby's than there are fedoras at SabotainCon.
We'll
31 Arby's in Phoenix. 30
I haven't been to an Arby's.
fedoras at SabotainCon.
We all got to take
an Arby's. I guess I have to join you guys.
We're all
you're
drunk
gonna
as
have
fuck.
to join us.
We're all drunk as fuck, so we got to take a pee break. So we'll be back after this word from our sponsors.
Banana.
New Amsterdam is complemented by chunky foods like sun-baked Greek yogurt. So head on down to the store and buy some Chobani to get the most out of your vodka experience. New Amsterdam, it's your town. Just beef that shit up, motherfucker. Hey, yeah, get fucking wasted on this cheap-ass shit, you fucking slut. What's the difference between a fuckboy and a dank boy? It's the amount of beef coursing through their arteries. Don't act like you don't want a little sip of this shit, or act like you got something better to do than post anonymously on your sassy little board with your faggy-ass friends. I don't get paid. I'm suffering. Just take a whiff of this shit, you Colonel Custer fuck. I'm gonna snipe your ass right off this garbage planet. You feel that? It's the pleasure of your berries being dunked into pure ethanol. You belong to me. I belong to New Amsterdam. What does that mean? You do the math, Pythagoras. If you can still hear me, you clearly need another drink, you Captain Crunch motherfucker.
According to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages during pregnancy because of the risk of birth defects. Consumption of alcoholic beverages impairs your ability to drive a car or operate machinery and cause health problems. Exercise your right to party. Please drink responsibly. Okay, we're back. We just had a very interesting segment led by our friend Sean. And, yeah.
Remember, kids.
All right, well, we're going to try to take back control of the podcast.
Yeah, I'll hand it over
back to our scheduled questions and progress.
I'll hand it back over to you guys because I did some crazy shit.
Yeah.
So now that
it was pretty awesome and pretty weird and pretty awesome.
Pretty
pretty puzzling.
Now that we know
gay.
whose side everyone's on.
So, we're going to... Eric, do you want to run the questions?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
So question 1 to Sean. What would you consider your lowest moment or your biggest failure that you want to share with us?
Oh boy, my biggest failure that I want to share with us.
Yeah. The point where you really fucked up.
Well, I think I would like to say that, like, even at your lowest fuck up, I think that, like, your lowest fuck up is also your very highest mystical point of self-transformation. So I think when
would
I'm
not
in
disagree with that.
when I am in the burning fires of like, what am I doing here? And I'm going to like kill myself. I think to myself, I'm going to like suffer through this. And on the other side of this, I'm going to be rebirthed into something probably still horrifying, but at the same time, I'll have I'll have more of a category of experience, and I wouldn't exactly go so far as to say like self-actualization or self-worth, but I do think I believe that the measure of a man is based on the weight on his shoulders. So I think that the more fucked up shit that happens to you, like probably, the more that you... And if anyone here is like an Old Testament, has read the Old Testament, I think that they will agree that that if there is a God, then he loves to just stick it in you, just fucking get it in there. So
I can't disagree with that.
So that was the time when you...
Theological...
That was the time you played Foxtrot in the car, right?
Well...
Supper's ready.
Are you talking about the time I lost my virginity to Supper's Ready?
That counts.
That was definitely not a low point. That was an extreme high point of my life. But low points, I mean, it's like when low points are like when you lose your job and like it seems like all the people around you have been completely alienated you from your personal actions and things like that. And you feel very alone in the world. And I think there's something to be said for like the long dark tea time of the soul, as Douglas Adams would put it. I think that there's definitely something to be said to that. I think if you are mystically inclined like myself and Troy, I think that you will hit those points and it will be fucking dank. And if you come out, a lot of people don't come out on the other side of them. Like, I think there's a lot of like famous musicians. I mean, like there's the Forever 27 Club for sure, where it's like, oh my God, you just start playing My Chemical Romance.
I may have.
We're talking about the devil, and you start playing My Chemical Romance.
Can you please play the trap?
I don't blame him. I mean, that's what we just did. We just did a ritual for like pussy and money here.
I don't listen.
So I mean, I don't blame them for doing that.
I don't think so. I was earnest in my request for sponsorship by Arby's in New Amsterdam.
I seriously
I had no.
I'd like to build a studio for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to have a nice relationship.
I don't think there's anything wrong with like expecting like personal game.
I'd like to walk into Arby's and show them the card.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
I would like to Vaughn's.
I like
show
to say
them the card.
I'd like to say for the record here that the ritual that we've just performed that you just listened to is not a theistic ritual, but a ritual in fact for because like Anton LaVey was like farthest from like being a theist, but he doesn't believe that there's like an actual Satan, but he believes in like what like the syncretic deity of like the devil represents.
Satan's a symbol.
Yeah, I mean it's Pan and it's fucking Hades and Pluto and you know all of these aspects, you know, that have kind of been like cast out in like our modern like monotheist times. So basically all he's saying is that it's okay to like want pussy and money, and I don't disagree with that. I mean, his rituals are goofy and show like an extreme lack of occult knowledge, but
man, I thought you were helping me.
No, you are.
The
ritual aspects of Satanism are about sort of like having like a psychological decompression chamber where you can like vent all of the things that you want and like focus all of the things that you want and want to do.
I already do that
into like into this like sort of like I mean we're all drunk
just
as
pretend
fuck.
it's religion, and then that's
exactly
what you get,
like it's like you kind of have this like goofy comic like comic relief aspect of kind of like releasing your energy into the world, and that's supposed to help you sort of
I already have that.
Like next time you want a girl to go down on you, say, now endure the apotheosis of my loins, instead of saying suck my dick, and then you have
and there you go, it's semi-mystical.
You're the marinade on my beef.
I'm sorry, me and Troy are taking over this
Good
again.
job.
Please,
I was trying to say my biggest failure wasn't mystical at all. My biggest failure, I have two biggest failures. I don't know. The one that I'm not sure. I kind of wish there was an opportunity time to do a coin toss to determine whether or not I'll say I like which one. But I would say my funniest biggest failure was accidentally coming while having phone sex with a girl in high school, and that was embarrassing. And then my second biggest failure wasn't enlightening at all. My second biggest failure is I actually I fucking hit an autistic kid with my jacket in middle school, and he got bruises. And I went to the principal's office, and I've never felt
sounds like a success to me.
No, I've never felt like more of a piece of shit in my entire life, because I just lost my temper for no fucking reason in middle school, and I basically beat up a fucking autistic kid. So my greatest failure and shame that I didn't learn shit from.
We have a couple questions for you now. I'll start with you, Sean.
Yes, sir.
We have a couple categories we like to ask about what you're doing in your life right now.
Okay.
If you want to plug something or just, talk about your hobbies.
Okay.
So we have 4 things. You don't have to respond all at once.
Okay.
And if you don't remember all 4, just ask. But
Okay.
the 4 categories are: what are you reading, listening to, watching, or playing video games?
Oh boy.
Or sports. We haven't had any sports players on, obviously, but if that's what you're doing for playing, sure. But we're gonna assume
WWE
video games
counts as a sport, then count me in.
So reading, listening to, watching, and playing.
Currently, I've been reading a lot of UFO literature because I think like the particular like psychosexual connotations of like UFO abductions are really interesting. I've been reading a lot of like, by that I mean,
can you
like,
explain what the sexual aspect of UFO
psychosexual aspects of UFO encounters?
So I've just been playing Higurashi, and they just had like there was like a UFO ending of chapter 6.
I think so. I think
on you for playing the actual game rather than just watching the anime, man. Fuck
man,
yeah.
This VN has been a nightmare and a pleasure. But,
so
Yeah.
So I've been reading a lot of Jacques Vallée and Whitley Strieber, and by that I mean, so Jacques Vallée is sort of like a scientist. He's like a computer engineer who started investigating like reports of UFOs and that sort of thing, and he's of the opinion that UFOs are not actually a like outer space visitations, but sort of some kind of like psychological aspect of our minds that we aren't exactly privy to, or possibly some other like earthly effect that we don't really understand. For instance, the UFO like abduction probing, like any of that weird like anal probing shit that you think is kind of like an invention of like sexually repressed 50s America. You can actually trace that back to like Europe, to like tales of like demons like and succubi and incubi like kidnapping people and like sticking pins in their stomachs and doing like weird like sex stuff with them. And these are stories that are old as like, you know, humankind itself, you know. I mean, every religion has its like tiny like, hey man, I got kidnapped by like weird fucking elves and like they try to feed me a bunch of gross food and do butt stuff. So butt stuff fairies are as old as human consciousness itself. Yeah, butt stuff has always been. So, I mean, this goes back to like Sumerians, and presumably if it was like particularly the scorpion men in like Sumerian
I guess that boy pussy's
mythology.
Always been as dank as we thought it is.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if the Sumerians have it, like, I mean, like the Sumerians, by the time they got their civilization, like all of their literature is also like super like deconstructive of like the you know, like the times and things like that. Like, I mean, like the Epic of Gilgamesh is already given us like a deconstruction of like the epic narrative, and that's like a 4,000-year-old story. So by the time the Babylonians are around, I'm sure that like the sort of like abduction by little people and like prodded thing was also probably already like a weird like joke thing that people joked about. Like, oh man, did you hear about Grognak? Like he got like abducted by mountain men and like they put fucking flaming rods in him. So Jacques Vallée talks about Jacques Vallée talks about like a lot of like the weirder things about that, and then Whitley Strieber is like an insider to like the sort of like UFO abduction phenomenon, where he actually got, well, I mean, I'm air quoting out everything I say, got abducted by aliens like a cabin in the woods. But his interesting approach to it is that he doesn't approach to it as like, oh, I got abducted by people from space. But he's more attuned to like the sort of like, oh, this is like a phenomenon that's been happening for like thousands of years, and that's like, I want to kind of like, you know, he's written a bunch of books. He's fucking crazy now. Like
he's like the only person who got abducted by aliens who was like actually skeptical about it, and is like, I'm not sure what happened to me. He's like, something happened to him, but he's like, you know.
Like I'm in the camp that I wouldn't say I believe in like space people, but I believe that something happens to these people, you know. So Whitley Strieber, if you want to never sleep, I haven't slept in like months because I first
sleep
of all,
great every day.
As his roommate, I attest to that.
I like aliens are like one of the most frightening things to me, and I for months, and yeah. So like, you know, like reading Whitley Strieber and Jacques Vallée and like all of this other stuff, and like Day After Roswell and things like that, kind of tying into like the the psychological aspect of like alien abduction has like really kept me up at night. So because I mean, if you think about it in that way, then it really could happen to either one of us, any one of us here.
I wish it would.
Any one of us could have sort of a psychological communion with like.
Hey, I was talking to Steve about this earlier. We're here in the desert.
Yeah.
And you get a nice view and the stars compared to Camarillo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's not a lot of light pollution out here.
But compared to Indian Heaven, which is a place in southern Washington state.
We know Washington actually has like a lot of interesting connections with like MK Ultra projects and like Atomic Energy Commission like testing on like retarded children.
You might get your answer question tonight, Eric.
Well, so there's actually a lot of
interesting.
And like the first like major UFO sightings in like American history were Kenneth Arnold, which happened over Mount Rainier, and then like literally a month later, there was a famous one in Puget Sound where someone thought they saw like a UFO like exploding and like melting like liquid metal into like Puget Sound, and literally a month later Roswell happened. So there's some weird connections between like the Pacific Northwest and like UFO stuff, and
I haven't heard those stories, but I will say at this I don't know if it was a reserve or whatever, but there was like no light. Like I was able to see like stardust everywhere.
Nice.
And I was with a group of about 10 deep.
Uh-huh.
And so let's say looking forward is 0 degrees. Looking straight up is 90 degrees. At about 70 degrees, I started to notice like moving dots.
Oh boy.
That took directions that I hadn't ever seen a satellite or an airplane or anything take. And I pointed it out, and everyone in the group, so like 10 deep, I was like, hey, you fucking check that shit out. And we saw this dot like doing like really like fast like turns that you've never seen.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because Jacques
and I'm
Vallée,
as skeptical as it comes. You can listen to the podcast.
Like Jacques Vallée mentions that, so basically the peak of like UFO sightings happen at night between about like 10 and midnight, and then
that's when
like
it was
6 in the morning. And he mentions that it's one of the things he mentions about like it not being like aliens is that like honestly like we send like one probe to Mars and we get just about all the information from the planet that we could possibly get. You know what I mean? And it's like, but if you think about it, there's according to Jacques Vallée, he has like 30,000 something like that, like different like reports that were given to him, and there's a big dip in like the number of like reported like UFO reports between about like like midnight and like 3 or 4 in the morning. And he's saying what he says is that if it was more uniformly distributed, first of all, you have to be a crazy person to like report like a UFO anyway to like you know what I mean? Oh, I mean I'm not crazy, but I mean it's like you have to like not give a fuck about what anyone's going to say about you to kind of report it anyway.
Well,
so the 30,000 files he has on hand is like maybe like 1 out of every 10 people who like it has like enough balls to report it. Also, everyone's asleep between like 10 and 6 in the morning.
Right.
And also most UFO encounters happen in like backwoods, middle of fuck nowhere places, kind of like where we're living now, where you guys are visiting.
Well,
so he's saying if it was more uniform, if people like stayed up during the night and were able to watch the skies between about like 3 and 6 in the morning, it's like you would probably have this like huge like explosion of like people who like report like these like different incidences and things like that. Because I think, does everyone here have a UFO story? I have a UFO story. I know Troy does.
I've heard several, and some of them come out like people coming out of the Santa Monica Mountains. So Newberry Park, that area, people have seen those things coming in and out of mountains, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And it might be during the day.
I don't believe in UFOs, but I saw some shit that
I agree with you.
Moved like I've never seen.
Yeah. Out here,
literally
I've seen it in my front yard.
Like an airplane literally cannot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know what? I saw in my front yard out here, me and Alexis, my girlfriend, were coming back home, and we saw, I'm pretty sure it was a drone. There's a military base. There's a Marines base like behind the mountains where we live. It was like a plane, and it looked like a plane. It was kind of like motional as a dot in the sky. And then it did that thing where it just like moves to the side like pretty fast and kind of did this like swaying motion like back and forth. And we're like, that ain't no plane.
Yeah.
Like planes don't do that shit.
Okay, so you've seen the same where like the completely unnatural like plane movement.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's fucking, seeing it is like super fucking weird. Like I totally
we saw 3 or 4 different ones that night.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it happened in Washington. Washington's like a weird hotspot for that because it's like a place where there's like not a lot of people. So,
well, this was Southern Washington, like super rural. Like I could see like stardust.
Okay, you like by the Columbia River, like that.
Yeah,
that
we're like north of the Columbia by like 30 to 50 miles.
I used to live right on the Columbia River in Oregon, so I know the kind of like desolation you're talking about. Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I saw that shit.
Yeah.
We all saw it.
Like I said, people are seeing something weird happens. Like people see weird shit.
Yeah. So that I'm glad you've lived there and know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, the woods are fucking scary. I would never move back to the woods. So let's see. What are we watching? Or
you already said what you're reading about.
Okay.
Which led to the UFO thing.
Yeah.
But next is listening.
I've been listening to a lot
what kind of music.
I've been listening to
audio or whatever.
Okay, I've been listening to like Todd Rundgren, who is he got pretty famous writing a lot of like 70s soft rock tunes, and then he started this prog band called Utopia, and Utopia is fucking incredible. Like it's like they do all this like. It's kind of like tongue-in-cheek, like the way that like Jethro Tull prog rock is tongue-in-cheek. Especially like their second album or
Thick as a dick.
their third. Yeah, thick as a brick is kind of a joke, but like their album Raw is kind of a joke. Like if you see like their like if you see their live concert,
joke is
like
it was meant to be kind of tongue in cheek, not like it was a joke of an album.
Yeah. I mean, like the musical performances are very serious and like very intricate and like very good, which is why you should listen to it. But I mean, they're kind of making fun of like the whole prog concept of like tree wizards and fucking. Tree wizards and D&D and epic quests. Like, I think Todd Rundgren kind of had like a disdain for that because he was like a pop musician, and his strength was kind of just like writing music and producing music that would make money. So I think half of starting Utopia was just be like, you know what, progressive rock is like really big right now, like ELP and Genesis and like all this, and like all those huge bands. And like 1974 were like hot shit. So he was like, okay, like I'm gonna get in on this like wave. But yeah, Todd Rundgren is really good. In particular, I like the albums A Wizard, a True Star. Definitely listen to that. I mean, if anyone here is like vibing to like all the weird occult bullshit that's been happening tonight, A Wizard, a True Star is like good.
I'm into it.
Listen to Utopia's first album. It's just called Utopia. Their second album is Another Live. It's a live concert of unreleased material, and it's really good. Ra is a good Utopia, like the Egyptian god Ra is a good Utopia record. Initiation is a Todd Rundgren solo record that's really good. It has a lot of good shit on it, but that's what I've been listening to. I don't know. Troy, what have you been listening to?
Fucking tired.
It's like 3:00 in the morning right now.
It's almost 2:30.
I have musical ADD, so I tend to just kind of schizophrenically fuck around in my music library. And I also ironically have like the autistic insistence on like it takes me like months to actually accept new music that I listen to the point that I put on my iPod. So I've been re-listening to Akira Yamaoka and Lustmord because my friend Brandon, who's a really big anime fan, he also snorts coke. And I don't
These
think he
two things
sleeps.
sound related.
He's a
to me.
manager of a Wendy's.
Even more related.
He was asking me for some good Yamaoka tracks, and for those of you who don't know, Akira Yamaoka worked extensively on the Silent Hill video game soundtracks, and he's a
2 and 3 are so
he's a trip hop artist, and
parts of it I kind of think of him more industrial than trip hop.
well, as I said, he worked on it. So,
Okay.
so Kira Yamaoka, the trip hop parts of Silent Hill 2, well, actually, even on the first one has like one song that he worked on, but like
Right.
the Silent Hill games, with the exception of 1 through 3, are actually the Konami Kohiha Club, which is like the sound engineers and other people collaborating with him, and it's mostly industrial. And then he did Silent Hill 4, and that's that's like entirely him, and that's why it has like a lot of trip hop tracks on it. And then
I've only played 1 through 3, so that makes sense.
Lustmord, those of you who don't know, Lustmord is kind of the godfather of the dark electronic ambient genre. He started doing stuff in the 80s because he was a sound engineer for films, and fitting with the whole satanic liturgy thing or prayer you did or whatever earlier, because Lustmord was invited to play the 60th anniversary of the Satanic Church on the 666 date in 2006.
Hell yeah.
So he, for an idea of what kind of music Lustmord creates, is he just creates these shit your pants, not all of it's shit your pants, or especially the thing he did for the Satanic Church kind of sucked, but he does these very scary ambient soundscapes that we'll either fall asleep to or then wake up in the middle of the night because suddenly the soundtrack will change and will just be just screaming weird noises and shit. So that's what that's my bullshit.
You were on that dark ambient bender.
Spooky. I mean, I wasn't listening to I hadn't listened to that shit in months, so like I just felt like I would get back in the spirit of it before October rolled around. So
Hey.
yeah. So
No, I like a lot of that stuff, but yeah, it's not something that you can listen to all the time.
Well, Lustmord's actually very relaxing. I would recommend his album Where the Black Stars Hang. You can actually like fall asleep to most of it, except the last track is called Dog Star Descends, and it's just an extremely loud heartbeat sample with different distortions on it, and it's not pleasant to listen to at all, actually.
Right on. I keep punching my mic. I'm so sorry. I'm so drunk. It's like the drunkest I've been in months. You guys have been very kind, like alcohol donors to me.
This is how we do it on the podcast.
Right on. So what's next?
I was going to say, I wish I was kidding, but then I don't wish I was kidding.
You're in the
so
right
next,
spot.
so we had reading, listening to. Next is what you are watching.
Well, me and Troy have been watching this crazy fucking anime called Fantastic Children.
It is fucking fantastic.
It's this weird if you like mystery like 80s action movie stuff. Basically, it's about this is what I took away from like the few episodes I've seen. We haven't finished it yet.
I'm a bit ahead of you, but
it's basically like this kid in like Thailand or some like Southeast Asian archipelago, like sort of gets caught up in this drama of these super powered like kids who like reincarnate
don't
every couple
spoil
hundred
shit.
years.
Don't spoil fucking anything.
Hey,
I mean, I've only seen like 3 episodes, so like whatever comes out of my mouth is like first like 60-minute spoilers, which I don't consider. If it happens
when
in
did
the first
the show come out?
Oh, probably 2000s.
Yeah, like early 2000s. Has early 2000s production vibes.
Was it a TV series, OVA, or movie?
It's a series.
Okay.
So there's 26 episodes?
I think it's actually
a double.
Yeah, it's like 26 or 28 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fantastic.
It's actually really fucking scary and disturbing. And I've never seen a show that just starts off with just heavy drama and people like crying and shit. Like in the first episode, there's just heavy drama. Like in the first couple seconds.
Do you guys know what the studio is?
Oh boy, I don't know. I couldn't.
Studio.
Well, I mean, we're just like torrenting this shit.
It's not a major one. That's
okay.
What I remember.
But Fantastic Children is the recommendation from us.
Fantastic.
We've been watching.
I've never been so happy to be confused and not know what the fuck is going on in the adventure series.
We've been watching We watched Stranger Things. I mean, if you don't know what fucking Stranger Things is, go fucking watch it. If you've ever seen like an 80s children's movie in your life, like holy shit, like go see Stranger Things for the love of God.
Stranger Things is a Super 8 we should have gotten, and all these other 80s lingerie bullshits out there.
Yeah, so like all the fucking bullshit we've had, like Super 8 and like It Follows and like all this like really bad like retro throwbacks, like Stranger Things is the answer to all of that. Stranger Things is fantastic. Like go watch it. I'm not going to say anything about it other than just do it. Just commit and watch it.
That was the first turn off. Like, I don't really want to watch another 80s throwback.
It's good though. Like everything that you're like, oh, I don't know if this is
going to rely on Steve to remember all of the recommendations from this podcast.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. He doesn't listen, so he just makes sure.
All right, so I don't want to cut you off, but we have a couple other questions.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I know we're crunched for time.
Part 4 of question number 2 is what video games are you playing? And let's keep it brief because we're running a little bit long. So
yeah, we are running long. For me right now, Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm playing
fuck.
Well, I'm playing Substance. I'm playing the VR missions on Metal Gear Solid 2. So I'm not a. It's a long conversation about why I'm not a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid 2, but I think the VR visions are very good. So if you wish that Metal Gear Solid 2 had more gameplay, play Metal Gear Solid, play Substance, and do like the fucking 20 plus hours of VR missions that you get.
Off air, we'll talk about Metal Gear Solid 2. All right, Troy.
I'm playing Fallout 4 on survival mode.
Okay.
Survival mode is the best things from the other survival mode mods that I've downloaded and played on New Vegas.
From what I've heard about the
games.
survival mods, it sounds nice.
It's the official Bethesda survival mode actually takes some of the best elements of the older survival modes. Like you can get diseases and get sick. In fact, you get it very frequently. Basically, you get hungry, sick, and tired. You can't fast travel. You can't fucking save. You have to sleep in a bed that you own to like properly save. And you get hungry and you get diseases from eating food that's bad. And if something scratches you, you get diseases and you have to make antibiotics, and it's actually a lot of fun, and I'm shockingly way farther on my survival save than in any other save of the game just because I don't know, I made an overpowered character to compensate. So
yeah, there's a lot of overpowered things I've heard about Fallout 4, so this seems to balance it kind of well where that you can at least feel like you're in like a survival situation.
Every encounter and every combat thing is fun and entertaining. I think my worst thing, though, I put in my progress recently because I gave a mini nuke to a friend and then they fired it at a dog that was running up to us and killed both of us, which is the stupidest fucking AI behavior I've ever seen in a Bethesda game. So I haven't played it in a while, but that's it, yeah.
All right. Well, power round because we're running out of time. Next up is what are you eating, drinking, smoking, and jacking off to? So we'll start with Sean. What are you eating?
Eating
lately?
I just bought some like really killer some like pizza flavored veggie burgers from Trader Joe's. I'm a vegetarian because the devil, all of us are animals, and the
I
devil
kind of feel bad
believe in-
about what happened earlier now. All right, I'm going to disqualify you. All right, Troy, where do you eat?
I will say this, but I'm a humanitarian and I eat humans instead to get my protein instead of animals. So
I would call you a faggot.
I eat my hot dogs with onions, sauerkraut, and mustard.
That sounds
I
good.
made some wings earlier tonight with lime and every sauce we had in the fridge mixed
Hell
together.
yeah.
It turned
Those
out
did
really
smell.
good. They were fucking great. You piece of shit. Try meat again. No, I'm joking. I know where my meat comes from. I was actually vegetarian for 3 years. Yeah, so that's.
I want to preface this by
At least you
saying-
came back.
That's it on food. Yeah.
I want to add a suffix to this by saying that I'm a vegetarian for health reasons and that I'm like allergic to penicillin, so I tried to avoid factory farmed meats. I have no.
That makes it better.
I have no ethical problems with eating animals because no animal dies in retirement.
I retract my statement, kind of. All right, so next question for consuming things physically, drinking. I know you're drinking New Amsterdam and absinthe. But
one of my
what are your
friends,
favorites?
One of my friends just came back from Italy and brought me and Troy a little bottle of absinthe. So I got turned up on that tonight. I love absinthe. I hope one day to I have enough money to turn into an absinthe snob, so I can get one of those like really douchey like little dripper things that like adds like the sugar water to like your absinthe super slow, so you can be like just like super. You can watch like the fucking absinthe, all the oils come out of solution and be like, delicious, so beautiful. Listen, smell the aroma. So that's my monetary goals.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. All right, Troy, what are you drinking?
Same things. Just beer, vodka, and absinthe.
Do you have a favorite beer?
Shout
Favorite
out
vodka?
to Simpler Times from
Simpler
Trader
Times,
Joe's.
cheapest beer. Fuck all the other stores. Trader Joe's.
Cheapest
your
best
life's
beer, $3.50 for a 6-pack, and it's the most. They're good. Like they're not piss beer. Like they have a lot of flavor and character.
Who does Simpler Times? Who owns it?
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's. It's a Trader Joe's.
It's better than PBR,
brew.
Rolling Rock.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're lagers, so they're kind of they're very tasty. Like
Well,
they're very
I'm gonna have
full-bodied.
to verify that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next, what are you all smoking? So we'll start with you, Sean.
I'm
combustible or tobacco or non or PCP
I'm a man of
methamphetamines.
I mean, this is California, so I mean, it's very easy to get like a medical marijuana license. So, like, a lot of the denizens of my cannibal cave are very heavy, wacky tobacco users. So,
Are you more of an indica or sativa guy?
I like head highs where I feel like stupid as fuck. I tend to freak out a lot when I get like body highs and like get super sad and like feel like the floor is like parallel with like the way I'm looking, like when I freak out super hard. So I'm definitely head high, man.
I'm a bit with you on that. Do you have a favorite strain?
Right now, no, but I will. But I mean, if it's around, I will give it. I will give it a shot.
I will recommend lemon haze.
I will give it a shot in legal amounts.
It's a good strain.
Some good shit. And for Troy, smoking.
I've been being a good boy to try and get work because I don't know who drug tests and who gives a shit. But
it can be hard to find that out.
But I used to do like 2 or 3 bowls of indica a day when I had my bong that I broke in a fight with my brother, which is a long separate story.
Yeah.
But I used to be a sativa guy, but then sativa, it just kind of makes me feel weird and heady and it makes me feel hyper and weird. But then I get the same headspace from smoking indica anyways as with indica. It makes my back less hurty and it also just makes me more fucked up. So I'm an indica guy, basically.
All right. So Sean.
Yeah.
Are you more of a butt plug guy? A lube.
I'm only getting one. The only option I've heard was butt plug. So give me the other options.
What are you masturbating to? What's getting you on right now?
Japanese incest game shows.
Oh
Let
man,
that sink in.
I may or may not have seen things like that.
I mean, that's basically like half of all Japanese pornographic media. Yeah, so Bob Barker, but he like fucks his daughter.
All right, and Troy.
I don't want to ruin your life.
Oh, good luck with that. If you want to talk about it off the air, we can.
There's some things I could mention, I guess, but you might want to edit them out. I don't know.
That's up to Steve. But
Well,
you ain't gonna ruin me, mate.
I haven't shown Sean my like BDSM test results because he said that his was like vanilla and like mine are like on the extreme Sith Lord side of like unredeemable like hell spawn.
I was at least 60% voyeur. Are we gonna plug BDSMtest.org right now?
That would have been a good thing to just skip this whole question.
Are we getting into Guru here?
Hey, Guru Eucharis.
I don't
look it up.
I don't like organs, but I'm okay with blood.
Okay. Next question. First we'll go to Sean. Who would you like to see on the show?
Oh, on the show, I mean, if you guys haven't talked to Mike Dekovich, like, holy shit. One of my friends, one of the, that
Mike D?
Yeah, Mike D, dude.
Woo!
If you guys haven't, he's a
Got
composer.
the lady's voice?
He's a composer and a teacher right now at.
Sorry, Mike D.
He's a composer and teacher right now at University of Oregon, and
he's a duck.
Yeah, he's
all right,
a.
Don't get him on the show.
Or no, what's the one in Eugene? Is that beavers? Or
That's the ducks.
Ducks. I always prefer ducks over beavers.
Yeah.
I'm not a sports guy.
So Troy, who would you like to see on the show?
I'm not really familiar with. I don't know. Like I would say, like some big ass celebrity that I don't think.
Go ahead.
You can say anyone.
There's no
I want to see
qualifications.
Eric Andre fuck up your podcast.
Oh,
but
actually, yeah.
If you've ever heard the theme
truly
song,
on your side, it'll happen.
if you've ever heard the theme song to our show, there's a drum solo in the beginning that's inspired by the Eric Andre show.
Good.
So Eric Andre, I'm a nihilist too. Let's get on the show. Come on, let's talk about it.
Yeah, this is your challenge.
Eric Andre, we both want Alex Jones to fuck our wives. Let's fucking get on the show.
Because we already know about him. Like we'll never be able to get on the show.
We're on MySpace.
Yeah.
I actually did have a MySpace, but never had a Facebook. Eric Andre, get on the show. All right, and the last question. So I'm gonna ask everyone here, and ask myself at last. So Sean, we have two categories.
Okay.
It's a very binary world. Now we're going around the clock. We're starting with you, Sean.
Okay.
So we have two kinds of people in this world, obviously.
Yeah.
There's the beefers and the queefers.
Oh, boy.
And I think you know the difference.
Yeah.
So this last week, maybe not necessarily these last 7 days. You can extend it to 10, 12, whatever.
Okay.
Who's your beefer of the week in this recent week or a couple extra days that really made an impression that's like going hard?
I gotcha.
Beefing it hard. Doesn't give a fuck.
All right. Well, beefers versus queefers. Like beefer, I always want to dick ride Jesse Moynihan because nobody knows who the fuck that is, and he's like one of the storyboard artists and writers on Adventure Time, and he writes a lot of like super like weird, like psychedelic comics about like his own like fucked up relationship with like girls and like how many drugs that he does, and he also has this like awesome webcomic out right now called Formation, which I recommend everyone read. And Jesse Moynihan off the top of my head is like an artist that I aspire to be. So and like he's written some like the weirder fucking episodes of Adventure Time. Like if you guys remember like the end of like season 6, like the Comet, or if you remember any of the shit with
I did not finish 4.
If you remember the like Don't Forget Your Floaties episode, like he writes crazy shit. He's a great guy. If anything in this episode or like semi-mystical crank shit like interests you, like look up Jesse Moynihan. He's the man. Queefers.
Hold on, we're going round with beefer, and then we come back again.
And we're gonna come back with queefers. Okay,
yeah,
well keep going with beef. We'll keep going with beefers, Steve.
Yeah, so Steve's up next for beefer.
My beefer of the week took me by surprise. Didn't know it was going to come until maybe half an hour ago. My beefer of the week is Sean fucking Holt for giving Satan approved podcasting.
You guys are literally in the Illuminati now. Like every crank who like listens to this episode is going to think you guys are like part of like the fucking reptilian conspiracy. So
I better be.
I just want you to know that there's no such thing as negative publicity. So I did this for your benefit.
When you said you had a surprise for us, I never expected this.
Yes.
And this was better than I could have expected.
We've had the
you exemplified the beef that shit up, motherfucker.
We've had the Baphomet like sigil up this whole fucking time in the background. So just keep that in mind like this whole episode.
I've been staring at it.
So yeah, congratulations to you, Sean. You've made it.
All right, Troy.
In our ranks.
I get a general sense of beefer, but I'm not really sure. I would say Franz Kafka, even though he's dead, because I've been reading a R. Crumb.
Nah, he was a beefer.
Okay, yeah, I've been reading an R. Crumb drawn biography of Franz Kafka. So Franz Kafka is Sean, you're beefer. You're also the beefer choice. So I have two beefers. The living beefer is Sean. The dead beefer. Like this. The dead beefer is Franz Kafka because that guy was actually really fucking funny.
We just watched Naked Lunch too, and that has a lot of fun Kafka references.
Burroughs, he's another beefer.
Still trying to finish that book.
Oh, Metamorphosis?
No, Naked Lunch.
Oh, Naked Lunch, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Naked Lunch, just watch if you can't finish the book, watch the movie.
But I watched the movie. To do with each other.
They have nothing to do with each other other than title only, but still. if you need your William S. Burroughs fix and you just don't want to read, like watch Naked Lunch.
All right, can you throw me the DVD case for the Pudding Made Cafe?
You know I can. So while we were getting liquored up and we're sort of like lubing up our neurons, we were watching I want to tell the story. We were watching a hentai series called Sex Warrior Pudding. And the story behind this is that me and one of my friends, we literally drove by a strip mall, a Filipino strip mall that actually had a real video store in it where you could like rent VHS tapes. Like, okay, I want everyone to know it's 2016 right now. This probably happened in like 2014 or 2015, and we drove.
This was back in like 2003.
Yeah, not even like this happened like a couple years ago.
2005.
Yeah, so the Sex Warrior Pudding was made in 2005. So me and my friend, we went to this like Filipino like movie video store because we're like, dude, these don't exist anymore. And they had like a really baller hentai and porn section, and I was like, I want the experience of buying hard copy smutty anime porn and embarrassing the shit out of like a poor old man working behind this counter. And I bought this DVD, Sex Warrior Pudding, because it has all the 3 episodes that they made of it on there. And I was like, yo, this is what I want. And this old man was like, oh, you rent or you buy? And I'm like, I buy. So
dog. Fuck do you think I am?
Yeah, I was like, who do you think I am? I buy. So I ended up buying this. I have the receipt inside the DVD case.
I mean, we can see it right now.
We can take pictures of this and put it up.
$14.99.
It's funny as fuck. It's disgusting trash, and it's uncensored on my DVDs. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say my beef of the week is David A. Catane at Japan Anime LLC. Oh, wouldn't you know? His office is Topanga Canyon Boulevard.
Oh boy, San Fernando represent.
Chatsworth, California.
Oh boy, dude. Okay, I retract my who do I want on the show. Let's get that guy on the show.
Yeah, let's get David A. on here. I think he's probably also a Satanist. Yeah, so now we're on to Queefer of the Week, and basically it's the exact opposite of the Beefer of the Week, who you were really disappointed with, that really fucked up and is a plebe-ass bitch.
I'm disappointed.
That should kill themselves immediately by raping themselves in the ass.
My queef of the week goes to the Cincinnati Zoo for deleting their Twitter account for getting sick and tired of like people like harassing them about like Harambe.
Did that actually happen?
They literally deleted their Twitter account because so many people were fucking like roasting them. Like, did you see the thing where like, some guy messaged them and was like, "Hey, do you guys have a smoking section?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, we have it like out in like the parking lot or whatever." And he's like, "Are you sure it's not in the gorilla pen because you smoked my boy Harambe?"
You know what? They should have a clip from the zookeeper with the "Is TGI Fridays as good as it sounds?" It's pretty good.
Good.
Shut up.
But that's my queef of the week. Like if you can't take the heat, then don't beat your meat. If you can't handle the memes, get out of the streams.
All right, Steve.
All right, my queef for the week is anybody who's got an opinion on Colin Kaepernick and the national anthem. If you have an opinion on it, if you agree with it, fuck you. If you don't agree with it, fuck you.
Yeah,
like, non-issue. This is such a non-issue.
Non-issue of the century.
Nobody cares. Nobody should care. Queef of the week.
Troy, who's your queef of the week?
My chief queef of the week is
It's Cherry. That queef.
Sleep deprivation is my fucking queef of the week.
That fucking
Oh boy,
sucks.
I'll drink to that. Except not
yeah,
really, 'cause
shit.
I'm about to puke.
Here we go.
It's my queef of the week. Recently tried to follow this fucker on a cycling website because there's no other way. Tyler Nichols, fuck you.
Oh no. Wait, he's on a cycling website?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's the only social media that guy has.
He's on a cycling website, like a writer or
yeah, he's
like a contributor or
he used
like a
to
writer.
be like the captain of the Channel Islands team. For real.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. If Tyler Nichols, you got an opinion on this, come on the show. We'll hash it out. And so I think we should wrap this up. And I want to thank Sean and Troy for.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for stopping by our desert hole.
This event in the desert.
David A. Catane.
Yeah. Thank you, David. What's his name? Catane?
David A. Catane.
David A. Catane. Thank you for Sex Warrior Pudding.
That's a phenomenal show.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Eric, for stopping by our desert cave for a wonderful
Japanime.
Yeah.
Thank Japanimation.
Yeah, thank you, political and geopolitical nonsense for creating